What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. Now, you guys are probably wondering, why am I filming a second video today and not posting it tomorrow, which is going to be Saturday? So, at the time that I'm recording this video, which will be the same day that I'm going to be posting it, it is Friday, January 14th. We are literally halfway through the month of January, which is insane. And unfortunately, tomorrow, my family and I are having an electrician come in and rewiring a piece of the house, which is the kitchen. We've been having some electrical problems the last couple of weeks. We haven't had any electrical problems. I think the last time we had electrical problems was from here in my room, and we ended up getting that fixed. But yeah, it's just gonna be crazy. It's gonna be an all-day project, and I'm not gonna be able to film tomorrow on Saturday. So that's why I'm doing this video today, because for today's video I'm gonna be discussing one of the brand new archetypes that will be in the next deck build set, Tatcical Masters, which could very may well be like the Grand Creators. It just might. But if you guys do not know anything about Tatcical Masters, basically there are three archetypes that will be in this set. We have the Valiant archetype, which is a pendulum archetype. We have Labyrinth, which is pretty weird. I will be talking about the Labyrinth archetype in the upcoming weeks, as the new cards for these archetypes start to come in, and also a rune archetype that is going to be a little bit weird. I don't know anything about these archetypes. Valiants, we are going to be getting to that archetype here in a second, but they have it. The first line of text under the title name of this article, and big shout outs to YG Organization, no copyrights, but it says, and this is actually funny. This is funny. Champions, horny jail, and cool statues. That's how they address each of these archetypes as. I don't have any words for it. That second one, horny jail, that is the most hilarious thing I had ever saw. I don't even know how to describe it, but as far as the Labyrinth archetype, which is basically the horny jail, so to speak. I know I shouldn't have said that, but it's funny. There's a note here that says this is not a typo, and in parentheses, yet. This is not the exact spelling of the word labyrinth in Japan, and from the art, the name may also be mixed with Labrys, the weapon it's holding. Love because of all the hearts, and maybe some extra pun. So we're going with Labyrinth for the moment. And then for the rune archetype, the note says, this is a forced reading from the kanji name, which is composed of divine and monument or / tombstone. This combination could otherwise probably be read as shinpi? Yeah, shinpi, which is a common word for mystery written as divine plus secret. And it's in fact being used in the description of the theme. We're going with the forced reading of rune, which already exists in other cards, and there may be a possibility that the name changes to something else because of those other cards. So that's what it's being known as. But as far as the Valiants, I'm going to be talking in this video. I'm going to talk about this archetype, and once we get more cards for this set, I am definitely going to be talking about them as the weeks progress. So so without any further ado, let's get straight into it. And if you guys enjoyed this video and you guys want to see more videos like this in the future, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. The links will be in the description. And if you guys want to send fan mail and you guys want to see me open it up on the channel, my address will also be in the description as well. And let's get straight into it. First up, we have Shinonome, the Priestess of the Valiants, which is a 2-star water spellcaster pendulum with 500 attack and defense, and its pendulum scale is 1. Its pendulum effect reads, which is a once per turn. During your main phase, you can special summon this card to your main monster zone in this card's column. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except Valiant monsters and monsters from your extra deck. So it's a way to get another body on board, allowing you to go into your allowing you to go into another pendulum scale, so you can so you can go ahead and just go into your fusion plays to whatever plays you may have that this archetype has. I'm not sure. Does this archetype have an extra deck? Let's see. I don't think so. I'm looking at the rest of the cards. I don't think. Oh, okay, yeah. So with this archetype, there's a fusion. There are fusions. So this is basically a fusion base. I guess for now, this is a fusion based archetype, which is pretty cool. Now, as far as the monster effect, it has 2 effects. The first effect reads, if you control this special summon card, you can add 1 Valiance spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Second effect reads, if this card is moved to a monster zone, from a monster zone to another, you can add 1 Valiant monster from your deck to your hand except this card. So it's basically Rhoda. Or it's basically Spell Trap Rhoda Stratos. That's all it is. It's, if you have that type of effect, it's just really good. But as I said in the last video, where I had talked about where I revealed the full set list for grand creators, the newer archetypes can oftentimes miss timing. That's like one of the biggest problems that these newer archetypes have, is the fact that they could miss timing. So that's one thing you got to be careful with. And not only that, if your opponent negates any of the any effect of the newer cards, and you don't have an out for it, you're gonna lose automatically. You will lose like that. So you guys have to be careful with that. But this card is just really good. Being able to just pop, being able to jump this card from the pendulum zone to the front lines is just absolutely insane. And not only that, it's Rhoda. How can you go wrong with the Rhoda effect? Which is pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Next up, we have Scion, Archer of the Valiants, which is a 4-star water spellcaster pendulum with 1100 attack and defense, and its pendulum scale is also 1. I think, is this a water base? Yeah. So you can actually use cards like Salvage. You can use Salvage and I think Moray of Greed, if I remember correctly. Let me look on Neuron, because I think you can use Moray of Greed on this archetype, which is actually which is stupid scary. It's scary. But as I'm going on Neuron, big shout outs to Konami, no copyrights, and not even sponsored yet, which is bullshit. Here we are. Let's see. Moray of Creed. Let's see what you do. Shuffle 2 water monsters from your hand into the deck. Draw 3. You can use this card on this deck. Holy shit. Actually, you know what? I'm going to keep Neuron. That is so good. That is so good. Wow. So Scion, Archer of the Valiants, 4-star water spellcaster pendulum, 1100 attack and defense, and its pendulum skill is 1. The pendulum effect is a once per turn. During your main phase, you can special summon this card to your main monster zone in this card's column. Okay, so it's basically the same. I think each of the pendulums has the same effect. Okay, so Shinonome and Scion have the same pendulum effect, where you can just jump it to your to where you can jump it from the pendulum zone to the main monster zone. But I believe the monster effects are different. So the monster effects for this card is a once per turn. If you control this special summon card, you can target one effect monster on the field, toss a coin. If it's heads, negate that monster's effect. If it's tails, the current attack becomes half. So not too bad, not too bad. So you can basically target one of your opponent's monsters, and you can toss a coin, and whatever happens. You know, if it's heads, if it's heads, then the monster gets impermed, which is actually pretty cool. Which is something that you want the most. Especially if you could just take it down during battle, you want the heads. But if you get tails, you're pretty much screwed. So that's like the only thing. Second effect reads: if this card is moved from a monster zone to another, you can target a card on the field, toss a coin. If it's heads, destroy the card. Tails, return it to the hand. So it's either a trap. So it could be a MST trap hole or it could be a compulse, giant true name, so to speak, which is pretty cool. I will admit, I will admit, it's still hard to believe that you can actually use Moray of Greed in this archetype. I cannot believe it. Sorry guys, my hair has knots. And my hair is coming out, literally. I know you can't even see it. Let's see. I'm literally putting my hair on the camera if you guys can see it. Yeah, that's my hair coming out. And I'm going to have to clean my room pretty soon, actually. But, yeah, I have to admit, that's actually pretty good. That's a pretty good effect. Being able to just either trap hole MST or compulse Trunade with that second effect is just absolutely insane. Now for the next two pendulums, I believe they are... the same. Yeah, okay, so first up we have Nazuki, Ninja of the Valiants, which is a 6-star water spellcaster pendulum, 1800 attack and defense, and its pendulum scale is 1. The effect is a once per turn. If Valiance, Vorld, Shin Rabansho is in a field zone, or if you control a water Valiance monster, you can special summon this card to your main monster zone in this card's column. So it's basically, again, a summon. It's a special summon mechanic that can oftentimes miss timing. I know that you guys might think it won't miss timing. But again, if you build it in a unique way, it will miss timing. But if you build it correctly, then yeah, it won't miss timing. But still, let's see. The monster effects are once per turn each. You can target one other monster in the main monster zone. Move it to an adjacent monster zone. If this card is moved from a monster zone to another, target a Valiant monster you control. Target a Valiant monster card in your spell and trap zone. Special summon it to your main monster zone in its column. So basically, this archetype is a way to just spam your main monster zone with a bunch of monsters and just go nuts. It is absolutely insane. Hojo Warrior of the Valiant, 8-star water spellcaster pendulum, 1900 attack and defense, pendulum scale 1. Basically, the pendulum effect is the same. If Valiant, Vorld, Shinrabansho is in a field zone, or if you control a water Valiant monster, special summon this card to your main monster zone in this card's column. Monster effects, 2 effects once per turn. You can target a face-up card in the back row, in the spell trap zone, return it to the hand. So it's basically a giant true nade, which is not too shabby, not too shabby. If this card is moved from a monster zone to another, you can fusion summon a Valiance fusion from your extra deck using the monsters from your hand or field as material, as well as cards in your pendulum zone. So this effect, this card is basically polymerization for the archetype, which is pretty cool. Next up, we have Valiant Buster Baron, which is a 2-star fire machine pendulum with 800 attack and defense, and its pendulum scale is 1. So with this, you can use Blaze, you can use Moray of Greed, and Blaze Accelerator Reload in this deck, which is hilarious. But it might be good. It might be good. In fact, I think Blaze Accelerator Reload might be the better one. Let's see. Blaze Accelerator. Oh, never mind. Never mind. This card's name becomes Tri-Blaze Accelerator while in the spell trap zone during a player's turn. Extend a volcano. Okay, so it's based. Okay, never mind. I thought you could use Blaze Accelerator, but I guess not, because Blaze Accelerator has to be with the volcanics, which is kind of sad. If it was set a just a fire monster, it would have been broken. It would have been pretty broken. The Pendulum Effect is a once per turn during your main phase. You can special summon this card to your main monster zone in this card's column. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except Valiant monsters and monsters from the extra deck. Monster Effect, both of its effects are once per turn. If you control the special summon card, you can target one other Valiant monster in your main monster zone. Move that target to an adjacent monster zone. If this card is moved from a monster zone to another, you can target one card in the pendulum zone, place it face up in an adjacent spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. So basically this archetype, I just realized, it's basically the Mech Knights, which is actually kind of crazy. Actually kind of crazy, but again, you're just spamming the board with a bunch of big idiots and just going all out with the fusions and just trying to control the tempo of the game, of the match, which is not too shabby, I must admit. Next up, we have Valiant's Voltage Viscount, which is a 4-star fire machine pendulum with 1400 attack and defense, and its pendulum scale is 1. Okay, so the pendulum effect is basically the same thing. During your main phase, you can special summon this card to your main monster zones in this card's column. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn, except Valiants and monsters from the extra deck. So, the pendulum effect is the same. I think everything else is different. The monster effects are once per turn. If you control this special summon card, you can place one face-up Valiant's pendulum monster from your extra deck face-up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. If this card is moved from a monster zone to another, you can place one face-up Valiant's pendulum monster from your extra deck into the pendulum zone, which is insane. Again, all it does is just goes from the pendulum zone to the main monster zone, moves from the pendulum zone to anywhere else in the spell trap zone. That's all it does. So I'm just going over the effects. That's all I'm doing. This one, on the other hand, is a little bit different, because this one is called Valiant Mad Marquise, which is a 6-star fire machine pendulum with 1700 attack and defense, and its pendulum scale is 1. The pendulum effect says that it's a once per turn. If Valiance, Vorld, Kowain Vysin is in a field zone, or you control a fire Valiant monster, you can special summon this card to your main monster zone in its column. The monster effect, both of its effects are once per turn. First effect reads, during your main phase, roll a 6-sided die and excavate cards from the top of your deck equal to the result. And if you do, add one excavated Valiance card to your hand and shuffle the rest back into the deck. It's basically Pot of Duality. It's basically Pot of Duality on steroids, if you will, which is pretty cool. Second effect reads, if this card is moved from a monster zone to another, roll a 6-sided die once, and if the result is 2, 3, 4, or 5. Special summon a monster from your spell and trap zone to your main monster zone in its column. If it's 1 or 6, you do absolutely nothing. You do absolutely nothing. So you basically have a 4 in 6 chance of rolling a 2, 3, 4, 5, basically, which is pretty cool. And then the last of the main deck monsters, we have Valiant's Dominator Duke, which is an 8-star fire machine pendulum with 2,000 attack and defense and scale. The pendulum and the pen scale is obviously 1. It's so the pendulum effect is basically the same as Marquise. It's basically the same, but the monster effect, I believe, is a little bit different. Yes, it is. You can target 1 set card in the spell and trap zone. It cannot be activated this turn. If this card is moved from a monster zone to another, you can target 1 face-up monster in your opponent's main monster zone, take control of it, and if you do, treat it as a Valiant monster. Also, it cannot declare an attack or activate its effect. So, basically, it's basically Zing Zang Hu, Snatch Steal. That's all it is. Zing Zang Hu meaning you target one of your opponent's set back row, it cannot be activated, but it's only a once per turn. But the second effect, basically, it's basically Snatch Steal, which is just absolutely absurd. Next up, we have the fusions. I believe there are 2. 1, 2, 2. Yeah. So there are 2 fusions, and then the 2 field spells, and then the reprint for this set. The first reprint for Tactical Masters, if you would not believe it. Heavy Metal Foes Electromite. I believe Electromite is still banned in the TCG. So I'm pretty sure that with this upcoming ban list that's supposed to come out in the next couple of days or so, we might get Electromite banned. In fact, let me look up the ban list again. I want to make sure that we don't have it yet. Let's see. I want to make sure that we don't have that we did not get the ban list, because if we did, I may have to. Okay, so we did not get the ban list as of yet, but I believe Electromite is still banned. Yeah, so in the TCG, Electromite is still banned. We may end up getting it might come off the list with this upcoming ban list that's coming up in a few days. So it might not. You never know. But for the fusions, the first fusion, we have Valiant Assemble Mamonaka, I believe is how it's pronounced, which is a 10-star water spellcaster fusion pendulum, that is a mouthful, with 2,800 attack and defense, and its pendulum skill is 10. So this card and any of the other 1 scales, you basically get summon monsters 2 through 9, which, not too bad. That's actually pretty good, if I say so myself. Let's see. The Pendulum Effect is a once per turn. During your main phase, activate one of these effects. Special summon this card to your main monster zone in its column. Move a monster in your main monster zone to an adjacent monster zone. Main monster zone. So, again, it's kind of similar to the Mech Knights. I wouldn't be surprised if people would mix this with the Mech Knights, because if they did, I'm pretty sure Mech Knights would be broken again, but I don't think so. I honestly don't think so, because I think Mech Knights need the pendulum zones as their own back row of sorts, so I don't think it would be viable. But as far as the monster effect, the materials requires 3 Valiant monsters, and the first effect is a once per turn. During your main phase, as a quick effect, you can target 1 effect monster in your opponent's main monster zone, place that monster in your opponent's spell and trap zone in that monster's column as a face-up continuous spell. If a card is already in that zone, destroy it. Destroy it. If you do, destroy a monster card this way. And if you do destroy a monster card this way, your opponent loses life points equal to its attack. So it's a way to not to either send it to their back row as a continuous spell, or if it's already there, deal them damage. So this would be So something like this would be perfect against the Crystal Beasts, because you guys know when the Crystal Beasts are destroyed, the crystals go into the back row as a continuous spell, which going up against this is not good. Not something you want to do. Second effect reads: if this special summon card you control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can place the card in your pendulum zone, which would then help you trigger its pendulum effect, where you can just summon it to your main monster zone, which is just insane. It's an endless loop, basically, which is pretty crazy. Next up, we have Valiant's Genesis Grand Duke, which is a 10-star Fire Machine Fusion Pendulum with 2,500 attack and defense, and scale, and the pen scale is 10. And I believe the pen effect is the same. Yep, it's the same, but the monster effect is different. It requires 2 Valiance monsters. Must first be either fusion summon or special summon from your face down extra deck by attributing a level 5 or higher non-fusion Valiance monster in the same column as an extra monster zone. The monster effect reads: if this card is special summoned, you can target a monster card in your opponent's spell and trap zone, return it to the hand. And if you do inflict damage to your opponent equal to its attack, then this card gains attack equal to half the damage they took. So, again, it just allows you to deal more damage, which is just crazy. Now for the field spells: Valiance Vorld Shinrabansho, which is the field spell, and the second effect is a once per turn. The first effect reads: when this card resolves, place 1 Valiant field spell from your deck face up in your opponent's field zone, except this card. If there are 2 cards in the field zone, the turn player can target a monster card in their spell and trap zone. The turn player special summons it to their main monster zone in the same column. So, if you were to have both this card and Kowain Wyson, you're gonna have a hell of a it's gonna be one hell of a matchup. That's crazy. That is crazy. And I believe they're both the same. Hold on, let me take a look. I'm actually gonna try and... Yeah, so they're kind of similar. So I will read the effects again as well, just to get it out of the way. This is the last one, right? Yeah. So Wyson is the last one. Second effect is once per turn. When this card resolves, place 1 Valiant field spell from your deck face up in your opponent's field zone, except this card. If there are 2 cards in the field zone, the turn player can target 1 effect monster in their opponent's main monster zone in the same column as that monster the turn player controls. Place the targeted monster face up in his controller's spell and trap zone in the same column as a continuous spell. If it's already there, destroy it. So it's so they work hand in hand. So my thoughts on this archetype, not too bad. I know that Triff Gaming, I know that Triff would love this archetype because he loves pendulums for some odd reason. But it's basically the same as the Mech Knight archetype. The only downside is that it's gonna miss timing. It's gonna miss timing, and you're gonna have to find ways to time your plays perfectly. If you time your plays perfectly with this archetype, it might be a viable deck, but I'm not so sure. I am not so sure. We still don't have like any other, like, I don't think there are cards in the game that can work with this deck. Maybe I know that Duelist Alliance can work. That the spell Duelist Alliance can work with this deck, but I don't know. I'm kind of like I'm a little iffy about this archetype, but those are the new cards. We may end up getting more new cards for them in the future. So if we do get more, I will definitely talk about them on the channel. But that brings me to the question of the day: what are your guys' thoughts on this archetype? Let me know in the comments below. And that is going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel, you guys want to see more Yu-Gi-Oh videos, in the future, which you guys know is usually Tuesday and Friday, but you guys know I've been doing videos every single day, so I'm going to try and keep up that momentum, but tomorrow will not happen. So this video will count as tomorrow's video, just as a disclaimer. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any new content that comes your way. And be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. All the links will be down in the description below. And if you guys have any family you want to send me and want me to open up on the channel, my address will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.